Colleague Racing has a brand new driver lineup here for this brand new season of the My Driver Series. AJ Omendinger, Jay Cook, Landon Castle, and myself, Gary Owen. Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode in a brand new season. Chapter 2 of our prologue begins here today in the NASCAR My Driver Series. As we were wasting no time here, we were in Daytona getting ready to get on the track for our very first laps behind this number 10 car here with the NZXT sponsorship at Daytona, where we are now on the Colleague Racing team here, a very prestigious team already in the Xfinity series, and we were very excited to get this opportunity to, of course, compete in this Xfinity series after coming up just short of our first potential Truck Series championship in our debut season here, as we were getting some laps under our belt drafting with our teammate of Jay Cook now as we went down this back straightaway, but it wasn't very long until we actually got called to the pit lane.
Bring it to us or stopping the session immediately.
So we get called to the pit lane immediately, and of course we bring it to the pit lane here. A whole bunch of confusion going on. I have no idea what's going on at this point as we would pull it into the pit box. Little did I know though, the season would be stopped for the foreseeable future. Breaking news here from the NASCAR world and other sports in general have all shut down completely after the global pandemic has taken over the world at this point here. Now in the foreseeable future, sports, entertainment, everyday life will be affected from this situation. Now we look forward to seeing potential NASCAR racing and other sports and entertainment back as soon as possible. Early May has come around and we've been given the confirmation that mid-June we will be able to come back into NASCAR racing. NASCAR and other sports have been given the go-ahead to resume action starting as soon as they feel fit. NASCAR is expected to start the new season in the third week of June after a near 3-month shutdown due to the global pandemic. But that wasn't it. We had a bunch of news happen during this shutdown. Martin Truex Jr. announced during the pandemic offseason that he has decided to retire from full-time Cup Series competition. Quote, "I will not return to the 19 car this season. I want to thank everyone at JGR for many great seasons together," said Truex. Christopher Bell will replace Truex in the 19 as JGR downsizes to a 3-car team to help them out financially. So this would have huge changes to the schedule. So basically the Xfinity series that we're in full time is now only running a 16 race schedule, and there you see it right there: Daytona, Miami, Martinsville, Richmond, Road Atlanta, Chicagoland, Dover, and Iowa are the first half of the schedule. The last half is Watkins Glen, Talladega, Bristol, Atlanta, Auto Club, Nashville, Roval, and Phoenix. So obviously we already confirmed no playoffs in this Xfinity season, and now the Cup Series and Truck Series both as well have eliminated the playoffs simply due to the fact that there's so few races. This is all to help financially with the sport overall, and the Cup Series is only running about 4 extra races. They're doing about 20 now. So the season would get underway. We were back in now to the 3rd week of June, and the season was just now getting underway, and it's just crazy how this all happened. Now just 16 races to our schedule to try and impress a Cup team well enough to get an opportunity to move up into the Cup Series. Martin Truex Jr. has announced retirement. Here was the finish of the Truck Series race, and we actually had the community member who won the Subscriber Series in the late models, Bradley Cole, pick up the win in the 00 truck here to start it off in Daytona. So 1 race in for him, he would win, but no playoffs. Obviously, it's a straight up race for the championship in the traditional points format here now, and this could be a potential format that is here to stay for the rest of this series that could have some minor tweaks here and there that I'm working on behind the scenes, so stay tuned on that. But a lot to unpack here, and as well real quick, as we would cross the line, we would actually qualify P13 for our first ever Xfinity series race. We waste no time getting into the action here. Now the first race of the season, every episode from this point on will be 2 races per episode, so be ready for that, other than the fact that if we get a Cup debut you will see just 1 race for that. But we get underway here for this My Driver Series, and we had the 2 of Sheldon Creed out in front of this pack over Michael Cozy Jr. Creed just won the Truck Series Championship, so now we will be fighting against him here again in the Xfinity Series like we did for the championship at Phoenix Raceway in that last episode in the Truck Series. So a lot of excitement here throughout this season, which is now only 16 races, and as well some other news. The next gen car for NASCAR has been delayed indefinitely, so we're not sure exactly when we're going to see the debut of that in the My Driver Series at this point now. So if we move up into the Cup Series next season, which is the current plan, we will still be driving the Gen 6 car. As you can see now, the pack 3 wide already there. Cindric all the way up to the top, and we have teammates here. We have Landon Castle in the 4 car, which is the same 4 car he drove in 2020 in real life. Just so I've now labeled it as a colleague car, and he is our teammate along with AJ Omendinger, who remains in the 16, and Jay Cook, who is now in the 11. We had a run-in with Jay Cook last season in the Truck Series a couple of times, so there's a bit of a beef between us here and there, so it's interesting now that we're going to be teammates with him, and there is rumors that colleague is going to have a expansion team next season in the Cup Series, a second car open, wide open for myself to potentially get into, or Jay Cook to get into. So we're going to be fighting against each other all season long to try and impress colleague to get that spot in the Cup Series. Focusing on this specific race though, it was a 45 lap race, stage 1 10 laps, stage 2 10 laps, which will end about lap 22 at the conclusion of that, because we do have some cautions in between, of course, stage 1 and 2. So we come to lap 5, and look at this, 3x3x3x3. You got Michael Cozy Jr., you got Ty Gibbs up here in the mix, you got Noah Gregson, a whole bunch of drivers going at it. Justin Allgaier right there on the second row in the middle, the defending Xfinity Series champion from last season here in our My Driver Series. Unfortunately, I had fallen all the way to the very back of this pack with Austin Cindric, our teammate Jay Cook, currently leading the colleague train there, third in line on the inside. A lot of young talent we're going against this season. This is a very stacked just competition for us. We got Michael Cozy, we got Sheldon Creed, the defending champion of the Truck Series, we got Jay Cook, you got Harrison Burton in that 19 car, you got Ty Gibbs, you got Noah Gregson. There is so much talent. Daniel Hemrick as well. That's just 7 names, and we're just scratching the surface. Austin Cindric remains in the Xfinity Series as well, and we got Sam Mayer. So there's 9 names right there. Josh Berry as well in the 1 car. 10 names already. Those are very, very competitive drivers that we are going up against here now. As we were closing in towards the end of this first and opening stage already, we come through to the final lap, and what I had found out very, very quick here in this draft package is this 3x3x3 the whole way through. There is no room for error, and there is also nowhere to go. So if they crash in front of us, we're probably not going to avoid it at this point, but as well as it's very hard to gain track position once you lose it, because everybody is 3x3x3. You're just hoping a hole opens up and the right lane is moving here. Now is Michael Cozy Jr. side by side with Ty Gibbs down into turn 3, so no playoff points for winning a stage, but you still get 10 points for winning a stage. So these points are ever so crucial, even with the playoffs no longer being a thing in NASCAR at this point in the season. As we come through out of turn 4, Michael Cozy Jr. through the tri-oval, he is going to win the first stage of NASCAR's return here in the Xfinity Series. As you can see, we crossed the line way outside of stage 1, so not exactly what we were looking for, but we kept the car clean, and that was kind of the main goal for this race. We have to do a lot of learning here in the Xfinity Series. Obviously, with only 16 races on the schedule, we have an Xfinity win under our belt already at New Hampshire last season, but at the end of stage 1, Michael Cozy Jr. and Ty Gibbs decided actually they were going to come into the pit lane, so a bit of a surprising call, as this would now move us up 2 positions for the start of stage 2 here now as we're back underway in Daytona, and it is time for the first time in this Xfinity Series to get amped. The car is really loose there on the entry, guys. I think we're going to need to fix this on the pit stop. I think we're going to need some tires. There you have the AMP segment here from the Xfinity Series debut here now in Daytona, Florida. We are very much struggling now at this point already in stage 2. I was getting really free on the entry of these corners as well as in the tri-oval at times. So I was having this issue the whole stage long. So immediately I was saying, you know what, guys, we got to bring it into the pit lane at the end of the stage. I don't care if anybody pits. I'm going to give up track position because I will cause a crash myself if I have to deal with this car getting looser and looser as this race goes goes on. Here comes Jay Cook to my outside, our colleague teammate there in that Taco Bell number 11 Chevrolet Camaro. He is showing a lot of speed here so far in Daytona, and I was just holding my own on the inside. I didn't want to get too aggressive and go 3 wide middle. I didn't want to jump up to the top, and although I'm more comfortable on the top at any plate track, I just didn't want to put myself in that position at this point in the race, and when there was still a lot of racing to go here now. So obviously a bit of an advantage. We don't have to deal with David Schulthouse here so far in this Xfinity Series, one of the strong drivers from last season. He has moved up into the Cup Series, and the 20 car is still in the Cup Series, by the way, because David Schulthouse drives it now for Rick Ware Racing. You will see his debut here in a few minutes' time in the Daytona 500 now as we came through. Now to the final moments of stage 2, now closing in on this final lap, and I'm just continuing to run this inside, and we were running right around the mid part of the field. We're P15 as we start the final lap of the stage. Just behind us we got Sam Mayer in that number 8 JRM car that we drove 3 times last season and won one of the races in and finished second in one of them, and then top 5 in the other one at Kentucky in our debut. So we've got a lot of pace in this Xfinity car, and we know we're capable of winning races already, and I think we can truly compete for a championship, and we have to compete for a championship as well because we want to prove that we are worth going up into the Cup Series right away. Now, what a journey it has been here, coming from this road racing background. A big crash in Spa put us into the NASCAR, and here we are now competing in the Xfinity Series. Just one level to go until we get into the Cup Series now, but it's Sheldon Creed leading the way out of turn 4. It's going to be side by side with Harrison Burton in that 19 car. It's going to be a drag race to win stage 2 now through the trial. Burton has the advantage. He is going to barely win stage 2 over Sheldon Creed in the final moments as the caution comes out, and we finish outside of the top 10 again. And this time I said, okay guys, bring it to the pit lane. I don't care if they stay out. We need to give up track position and get this car 4 fresh tires, so that way it's a lot more bearable under green flag conditions. So one driver up in front of us did bring it into the pit lane, and we would put 4 tires on the car, fill it up with fuel, and get ready to go back racing for the start of this 3rd and final stage. And it was Sheldon Creed that actually pitted with us here. So we were the last car in the pack now, so that was a little bit concerning because we don't want to risk, of course, losing the draft. So we got to make sure we try and get a couple cars in between myself and the back of the pack within this first couple of laps. Otherwise, we could be at risk of losing the draft and just completely ruining our own race because we wanted to kind of be safe here. But I felt like it was the right call to pit because I'm pretty confident I was going to cause a crash with just how loose my car was handling at this point in the race now. And we came through down this back straightaway. There you see Harrison Burton leading the way on the inside line, Jeremy Clements in the middle, and up on the top you got Alex LeBay here now as we expect 3 by 3 by 3 once again. And I was making some ground here on the top. I decided, you know what, 19 laps ago, 3rd and final stage, let's start to get aggressive. So I jump up to the top and hoping that we can make some headway forward, and you can see we're gonna slowly reel in Sheldon Creed, who's already made up a lot of time. But then there comes the number 47 and the 02 of both Moffitt as well as Weatherman here, as they almost got in the wall in front of us as we came through the travel. So that kind of halted my momentum for the time being, which was a little bit annoying now, but I wasn't going to be scared to do this right here. We're going to jump down into the middle, 3 wide, but we were nearly 4 wide, so I get down to the inside as quick as I can because 4 wide at Daytona, very sketchy to do. So we settled in again, got back up to the top, got to the outside of Michael Kose Jr., who hasn't been able to go forward as well since he gave up that track position on the pit lane after winning that first and opening stage. 15 laps to go, and I realized that we are in for a serious challenge to get to the front. There's just nowhere to go, and it was really weird. So each lane had their waves of momentum, and then they would have a really big checkup. So on the outside, we would have a big wave of momentum, then we would have this, a checkup, and it was so close to causing accidents many times. Right there you see me get into the back of Creed right now, another checkup, and then the outside would get another run, and they would get even with the other 2 rows, and then they would have a checkup again, fall back, and you can see we get close to wrecking Ryan Vargas right there. Now a fellow core driver of mine there. Unfortunately, we didn't take him out, but it was getting very frustrating, and I realized that we're closing in on the final 10 laps already here in Daytona into the back of Vargas again due to a checkup, and we haven't made up any progress whatsoever. So I noticed right off the bat we had to do something. We got to try and switch it up. The outside is not really going, so I decided to take a risk, jump down to the middle lane here, 3 wide in the middle, and you can see once you commit to 3 wide in the middle, you look at my rear view mirror, we're not getting out of this now. So we have committed to the middle, and it is so easy to cause a crash when you're 3 wide in the middle. I had to be so careful, so precise on the wheel, and the car was starting to get loose again. So in the middle of the corners and the entry specifically, I was struggling so much to keep the car in its perfect straight line here in the middle, and I was terrified. You see my oil temperature actually went up a little bit on the dash for a second, so I gave some space to Justin Allgaier. But now we're closing in on the final moments of this race, and we are making a little bit more ground in this middle compared to what we were on the outside. Justin Allgaier, he jumped up to the top top of 4 laps to go, so I fill that gap that he left open, and we gain a little bit more track position to the inside of Sheldon Creed and maybe to the inside of Daniel Hemrick as well. The fact that I hadn't caused a crash 3 wide in the middle at this point after doing it for like 5 straight laps, it was already like a win to me. Now we were approaching the final 2 laps of this race. We're slowly moving forward, but it's taking forever. 2 laps to go here in Daytona. Look at this scene right here. Now we're 3 wide, middle still at this point now, and we still haven't really gotten as far as we wanted to, but we have been making some ground, and you can see a bit of a check up there with Riley Herbst on the inside. I'm right there on the bumper of the 47 of Kyle Weatherman, and hoping that we don't hook him, of course. Now, opportunity to jump up to the outside actually opened up right there, but I decided not to take it right into the back of the 47. I nearly slam into the side of the 5 of Matt Mills, but fortunately we keep it going in the right direction, coming to the final lap here in Daytona. Now down this front straightaway, a big run here through the middle, this time to the inside of Creed. The 47 is going to jump down to the inside. Look at the space I have right here and the track position we're about to make up as this final lap gets underway in Daytona. To the inside of my colleague teammate of Landon Castle, down into turn 1, right to the back bumper of that 0. Now we're going to get right into his bumper there, give him a push. Michael Cozy Jr. has decided to commit to us, follow us. He's in line with us. An opportunity has opened up to the outside. I decide, you know what, I'm going to take it because the outside has a lot of momentum building down this back straightaway on this final lap. And look at this outside line going here down this back straightaway. We are hauling the mail as we go down into turn 3 and 4 for the final time. Burton leads the way. Here comes the 22 of Centric with a run. I'm committed to the back of the 54 of Ty Gibbs. The 26 there leads the middle. Jake Cook there in second just behind Burton. I make contact with Ty Gibbs in the background, run to the wall, and we have a crash down the front straightaway with my teammate of Allmendinger. Burton wins. Many cars crash in the background, including myself now as we cross the line side by side with Cozy. He goes up and over the front of my car, and we end up finishing not even actually in the top 15 where we were at the start of the final lap. And you can see what happened. I got into the back of Ty Gibbs, I avoided him, got loose, hit him again, and then it just all broke loose after that point here. And unfortunately we end up in that accident with a bunch of cars. We kept the car clean right up to the final moments, but I was going for everything there coming to the line, and unfortunately I pushed a little bit too much in my first ever full-time Xfinity debut. Harrison Burton wins though. That doesn't lock him into any type of playoffs, so since we don't have those, Jay Cook's second there, so a great debut for him. So as of right now, after one episode, he has the edge on us and getting that potential second colleague car. We end up outside of the top 15, like I said, actually in P20. So now a quick recap of the Daytona 500 now that was underway here in the middle of June. You had Tyler Reddick, actually very fast speed in that RCR car. David Schildos in that Rick Ware Racing number 20 car. Rick Ware Racing has now got an alliance, not with Stuart Haas like real life. No, they've actually got an alliance with Hendrick Motorsports. So they have picked up a decent chunk of speed. They're not going to be a race-winning threat at this point, of course, but they were definitely showing some pace. David Schildos had a good run, but by the time we came to the final lap, he had fallen down the order a little bit there in that pink and black car in the background. But it was Tyler Reddick who dominated the Daytona 500, the fastest car all day long, and he would sure enough be leading the way through turn 3, out of turn 4, big run behind him, but you can see everybody battling, and Reddick has a nice gap, and it's going to be Tyler Reddick coming through down the front straightaway into the tri-oval. He will win the Daytona 500 in NASCAR's return in the Cup Series, and David Schildos, one of the drivers we're focusing on a lot, ended up finishing P6, so a great result for him. But that wraps it up for the debut of the second chapter of the prologue and final chapter of the prologue. And I hope you guys enjoyed it a lot. It was a lot of fun to make this episode. And of course, in the next one, we will have the subscriber series getting back underway with the late models and 2 Xfinity races coming your way. And of course, recaps of trucks in Xfinity or Cup Series as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed as usual. Thank you for taking the time of your day to watch this episode and other ones on the channel. Thank you to the members as well. You'll be at the end of the episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Have a great day, everybody.